Hello and welcome to my Amorphage deck for the NR format. So why are Amorphages good? If you pendulum summon any Amorphage monster or flip it face up, then neither player can special summon anything from the extra deck except Amorphage monsters. Also in the scale, they can be a skill drain, an Imperial Order or a Royal Decree. We are playing 3 of all Amorphage monsters, that means 3 Gluttony, 3 Leechery, 3 Greed, 3 Envy, 3 Wrath, 3 Bright, as well as 3 Sloth. Then we are playing a small package to add our scales. We are playing 2 Raccoon. It can on summon add as a high or low scale from the deck to the hand. And we are playing 1 QB and 1 Ogama. Ogama because it's the high scale Magispector with the highest attack, and QB because it's the low scale Magispector with the highest attack. We are playing 3 high scales and 1 low scale. That's because we are only playing 3 Amorphage monsters with a high scale and 4 with the low scale. Raccoon can also get us the low scale Magispector. 3 Pot of Riches, you fill your extra deck up with pent monsters pretty quick, so this is a 3+1 most of the time. 3 Amorphages Persona, this sadly conflicts with Leechery sometimes because it's not an Amorphage spell, but it's really good because it can draw you 2 cards every turn. Then we play 3 Infection. This is great in the grind game because it can add you an Amorphage card when an Amorphage is tributed or destroyed, and it boosts your monsters. If you can set this up with a monster and 2 scales, it's pretty much GG for your opponent. Then we are playing 2 Ignite Reload for draw power on our first turn, because we really want to set up our floodgates. 3 Torrential Tribute, because it's probably the best trap in our format. 1 Lysis, this searches scales and lowers your opponent's attack. The extra deck you can probably ignore, because most of the time you are locked out of the extra deck, but you can technically summon all of these monsters. You can cut the extra deck as well and play Unchamufried, but I prefer having an extra deck. Now the replays. First I'm searching the scale I need with Raccoon. Then I activate Gluttony and I activate QB. With Gluttony I now have a skill drain in my scale, as long as I control an Amorphage monster. Then I pendulum summon 2 Amorphage monsters. Those lock my opponent out of the extra deck. My opponent tries to play, notices he doesn't have any monster effects. Then I draw Infection, now I can play the grind game way better. I destroy his monsters, he notices he can't pen summon them from the extra deck, and he concedes. This replay shows how many resources Amorphage use. I scale Leechery and Greed. With Greed I have a Royal Decree, and with Leechery I have an Imperial Order. Then I pendulum summon 2 Amorphage monsters and a QB. Now I have a Boster Lock as well, and my opponent cannot use his back row. I'm swinging for nearly 4k. Here I choose to get rid of the Greed. This is probably a misplay because I should get rid of the Leechery to use my field spell. This shows why Torrential is so good. My opponent summons 5 monsters, I blow up his board. And now I show the power of Pot of Riches. I shuffle back my materials and I get a +1. He thinks my monster is small and tries to swing in, but because it's boosted by Infection, it has way over 2k defense. Now he cannot special summon from the extra deck. I normal Raccoon, here I misplay, I should have attacked with the Raccoon into his monster to get a Surge. He attacks into my Raccoon, and because of Infection I can get a Surge. I'm searching for Greed so I can shut off his back row. He sets one, I activate Greed so he cannot use traps. I search my fitting scale, then I swing into him, get a Surge. Activate Leechery. Now I have an Imperial Order and a Royal Decree again, and I have Infection on field. He swings into my monster again, gives me a Surge. I tribute 2 monsters, can draw twice and search 1 card. Then I summon 3 more Amorphages, and now because of the 2 Infections I have 3 monsters with over 4000 attack. Infection can search another copy of Infection as well, which is great. This time I play going second against Medolce. This is a pretty good grind deck, so it's gonna be a struggle. I scale Gluttony and QB, now I have a skill drain, and I knock him out of the extra deck. He tries to attack me, but on attack declaration I chain Lysis to reduce his attack and his monster dies. He cannot use the graveyard effect of the Medolce monster, so he cannot trigger his Salon, he cannot add it back to the hand with Chateau, and he now has a monster in the graveyard which shuts off his counter traps. He activates Moon Mirror Shield, and now I know that I need to shut off his spells instead of his monsters. I'm misplaying here a bit. I'm tributing one monster to keep Gluttony on the field and I search Leechery with Infection, but I should have instead not paid the cost with Gluttony. Then I could have used Lysis to activate Leechery from the deck, and then I could have used Leechery to pay the cost to keep Leechery on the field. Then I would have shut off his spells this turn already. Instead I add Leechery to the hand and have it for the next turn. In standby phase I don't pay the cost, fill up my extra deck with Lysis, scale Leechery, he knows his spells are all negated and he concedes.